Secret chambers, impossible coffins, and lost cities under the pyramids. What if Egypt's strangest mysteries are still buried below? Something extraordinary happened inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. Scientists used a particle physics method called muon scanning to peek deep inside the pyramid's core. What they found shocked everyone: a completely unknown massive void right above the Grand Gallery. It's not just a crack or a crevice, it's a chamber nearly 100 feet long, hidden in solid stone, untouched for over 4,000 years. No one has entered it, no tools have reached it, no robot has been able to see what's inside. It's completely sealed off from the known corridors. Why would the ancient builders go through all the trouble to hide such a large space, without leaving a single clue in any ancient texts or carvings? Some believe this chamber may be the true burial room of Pharaoh Khufu, still untouched and filled with unimaginable treasures. Others say it could be a decoy, a part of a larger security system meant to confuse tomb robbers. And then, there are the more daring theories, the ones that suggest this space was never meant for humans, that it might hold something older than the pyramid itself, something hidden on purpose. The structure and placement of the chamber don't match any known architectural logic. It's like it was inserted into the blueprint of the pyramid at the last moment, or left there for someone in the distant future. It feels less like a mistake and more like a message waiting to be decoded. The mystery has captured the attention of scientists, conspiracy theorists, and adventurers alike. Even Hollywood couldn't make this up. It's like something out of Indiana Jones. The fact that in 2025, we still don't know what's inside the world's most famous monument is wild. Egypt hasn't allowed excavation yet. Some say it's to protect the site, others whisper about secrets too dangerous to disturb. One thing is clear: whatever is hidden inside that chamber could change everything we thought we knew about the Great Pyramid, and maybe about ancient Egypt itself. In one of Giza's lesser-known tombs, archaeologists uncovered something that shouldn't be there. At least not where they found it. A red granite sarcophagus weighing multiple tons, carved with such precision, it looks like it was shaped using tools we still can't fully explain. Here's the twist. Red granite isn't native to Giza, it comes from Aswan, nearly 500 miles away. And moving something that size through desert terrain over 4,000 years ago, that's a mystery in itself. What's even stranger is that the tomb it was found in is modest. No hieroglyphs, no grand decorations, nothing to suggest royal status. So why go through the trouble of placing a high-level granite sarcophagus in a site that doesn't match its value? Some believe it was repurposed or hidden deliberately. Others suspect it was placed there as part of a cover-up for a much older burial. Then there's the craftsmanship. The lid fits so perfectly you can't even slip a blade inside. Tool marks are nearly non-existent. It feels more like machining than chiseling. This level of precision is something modern builders associate with computer-guided equipment. How did ancient workers do it with copper tools and stone hammers? Theories range from lost ancient techniques to outside influence. Yes, including visitors from beyond. And just when you think it can't get weirder, it connects to another riddle carved not in stone but in the stars. Roughly 400 miles from Giza, etched into the ceiling of the Hathor temple at Dendera, is a stone circle that continues to puzzle scholars. The Dendera Zodiac isn't just decorative, it's an astronomical chart, but it shows constellations, star patterns, and figures that don't line up with typical Egyptian sky lore. In fact, some of the celestial symbols appear to come from Babylonian, Greek, and even unknown traditions. It's thought to represent the sky at a very specific moment in time. Some researchers argue it shows a planetary alignment that hasn't happened in thousands of years. Others believe it marks a cataclysm, or the rebirth of a lost civilization. The chart includes symbols of Aries, Taurus, Leo, and strange winged discs, some say even a comet. What was this really meant to track? The layout has an eerie precision. Some scholars believe it was a kind of encoded sky map, possibly tied to pyramid alignments or even celestial gateways. Fringe theorists go further, claiming it proves ancient Egyptians had access to knowledge far beyond their era, maybe even astronomical data passed down from pre-human civilizations. Whether it's a religious calendar, a cosmic warning, or something else entirely, one thing is clear. The Dendera Zodiac feels less like ancient art and more like a message written in the language of the universe itself. And strangely, it might have something in common with another Egyptian mystery, eyes that seem to see in the dark. Tucked inside the dark chambers of the Valley Temple near the Sphinx, archaeologists uncovered a statue that's nothing short of haunting. It's Pharaoh Khafre, carved in solid diorite. But what truly grabs attention are the eyes. Originally inlaid with quartz and rock crystal, they weren't just decorative. In low light, they reflected light eerily, making the statue seem alive. Historians say it symbolized divine vision. But how did they manage to cut and set translucent stones with such precision? These crystal eyes are aligned so they give off a lifelike, shimmering gaze. Optical experts who've studied the structure agree, there's more going on here than just craftsmanship. Some even suggest the eyes were meant to harness or direct light, possibly as part of a ritualistic mechanism. This wasn't some forgotten experiment. Statues with similar eyes have been found elsewhere, but never with the same level of technical accuracy. Could these be remnants of a forgotten science, one that understood not just light and shadow, but how to manipulate perception itself? It's discoveries like this that make Egypt feel less like an ancient civilization, and more like a world where boundaries between religion, science, and illusion were blurred, possibly by design. And these blurred lines continue in the oldest written religious scripts on Earth. Deep inside the Pyramid of Unas, something remarkable covers the walls. Not treasure, not gold, but writing. Thousands of hieroglyphs cut directly into the stone. These are the pyramid texts, the oldest known religious writings in the world. Long before the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah, these inscriptions describe the journey of the soul, the heavens, and the rituals needed to reach the afterlife. But these aren't simple prayers. They talk about star paths, serpent ladders, and gods traveling through cosmic portals. Some sections sound more like a guidebook for navigating space than a religious hymn, and they weren't meant for the living. These texts were hidden away, never intended to be seen again once the tomb was sealed. Curiously, they don't follow a consistent order. Some scholars think they were pieced together from even older oral traditions. Others believe they were carefully arranged to form a kind of sacred code, only fully understood by Egypt's highest priests, or perhaps someone else entirely. No one knows who wrote them. No signatures, no author, just a system of symbols that still baffles translators today. And yet, they seem obsessed with stars, directions, gates, and ascension. It's as if the ancient Egyptians weren't just trying to honor the dead, but trying to send someone or something somewhere else. For decades, whispers of a hidden city below the sands of Giza have stirred the imagination, and in recent years those whispers have grown louder. Several ground-penetrating radar surveys, conducted by both Egyptian teams and independent researchers, have detected deep, symmetrical voids and grid-like patterns under the plateau. Not just isolated chambers, but something far more elaborate. Tunnels, rooms, massive connected spaces. Some researchers believe this could be the remains of a buried city, older than the pyramids themselves. Egypt's authorities have been cautious about digging too deep. Officially, it's to protect the plateau. Unofficially, some say it's because they don't fully understand what's down there. A 1978 report hinted at a multi-level structure beneath the Sphinx area. Since then, access to parts of that zone has been restricted. What are they trying to preserve, or hide? There's even speculation, supported by ancient texts and modern scans, that the underground city once had its own water systems. One theory suggests the presence of a now-buried river, rich in iron deposits, possibly red in color, that ran beneath these structures. Many researchers believe this city could be pre-dynastic, built by a civilization whose records never made it into Egypt's official timeline. If confirmed, it would rewrite history as we know it. We're not just talking about a few chambers. This would be the largest underground archaeological discovery on Earth. A city buried beneath the most iconic monuments ever built, still waiting to be brought into the light. In southern Egypt, beside the Nile at Kom stands a temple unlike any other, dedicated to the crocodile god Sobek. And right next to it, archaeologists uncovered something that feels straight out of an ancient horror movie. A hidden pit filled with mummified crocodiles. Not one or two, but dozens, some small, others over 13 feet long, carefully wrapped, preserved, and buried beneath the temple floor. For centuries, this pit remained sealed. It was only in recent excavations that the vault was accidentally breached. Inside were rows of crocodile remains placed as offerings. Some were wrapped in linen and coated in resin, others were adorned with decorative markings. It's believed these weren't just animals. They were considered sacred vessels of Sobek himself. The ancient Egyptians believed these creatures were living representations of divine power, and their burial was a holy ritual. But here's where it gets even weirder. The pit's location was unknown even in later dynasties. No records mention it, no maps show it. It's as if it was hidden deliberately, its contents sealed off not just from looters but from time itself. And the chamber was designed in a way that muffled sound, even footsteps. Some researchers suggest it may have been used in ceremonial processions, where priests would perform silent rites over these beasts in the dark. Could this underground tomb have been part of a secret priesthood tradition, one hidden from the public eye? To this day, many of the crocodile mummies remain untouched, stored in special vaults in the museum beside the temple. Visitors can see them, but no one truly knows why this many were buried in a single spot, or what they were meant to protect or contain. There's something unusual pulsing beneath the Giza plateau, and it's not a myth. In recent years, scientific teams using electromagnetic mapping equipment have detected strange anomalies deep under the pyramid complex. These aren't just natural quirks. In certain spots, especially near the Sphinx and between the Great Pyramid and Khafre's Pyramid, the fields spike dramatically without any visible source. It's as if something underground is still active. The readings are low frequency but stable, almost like a hum. Engineers say the energy could be caused by subterranean cavities filled with mineral-rich water or old copper conductors. But there's a problem. There's no solid evidence of such structures where the energy is strongest, and yet, the fields persist. This has led to all kinds of theories. Some believe the ancient builders used the pyramid as a kind of energy device, an amplifier that worked with the Earth's natural magnetic field. Others claim the site once housed something much older than dynastic Egypt, a power source lost to time. Even Nikola Tesla's name has been thrown into the mix, given how close his theoretical wireless energy systems align with the pyramid's layout and angles. To this day, the Egyptian government has not allowed deep drilling in the areas where the strongest fields were recorded. Skeptics say it's overblown. Supporters say the truth lies just a few feet below the surface. Either way, Giza isn't just stone and sand. Something's humming beneath it, and no one seems ready or willing to explain what. Beneath the necropolis of Saqqara, in long torchlit corridors, rest 24 massive granite boxes, each weighing up to 70 tons. Welcome to the Serapium, a subterranean gallery originally thought to be the burial place of sacred Apis bulls. But these stone boxes don't quite match the story. They're too precise, too polished, and far too advanced for the supposed tools of the time. Each box is carved from a single block of granite. The interior is mirror smooth. The corners are sharper than what modern machinery typically achieves, and moving them into their tight underground niches would have required extreme precision, yet there's no record of how it was done. Some boxes are empty, others contain strange residues. A few show signs of extreme heat, as if something once inside burned its way out or left behind chemical traces we still don't understand. And then there's the question no one has answered: why so big, and why so hidden? While mainstream Egyptology maintains the serapium was for bull burials, alternative researchers suggest the boxes were used for something else entirely, maybe as energy containers, storage units for powerful relics, or something we can't even define. Whatever their purpose, the boxes feel wildly out of place. They're too advanced to explain with just copper tools and brute strength, and they continue to sit in silence beneath the sand. Massive puzzles in rooms built to keep them out of sight, maybe even out of mind. When the ancient Greek historian Herodotus visited Egypt, he claimed to have seen something even more astonishing than the pyramids: a colossal underground labyrinth near the city of Hawara. According to him, it had over 3,000 chambers, both above and below ground, filled with carvings, pillars, and secrets. It was so vast and complex that no visitor could see it all in a single day. Fast forward to the 20th century, and guess what? Archaeologists did find something beneath Hawara. Using ground-penetrating radar, they discovered a massive rectangular structure underground, larger than a football field, with intersecting walls and hollow corridors. But then, everything went quiet. The site was closed off, flooded with water, and official excavation halted. No one's been allowed to properly dig ever since. Some believe the Egyptian authorities are holding back due to structural instability. Others think there's something down there that changes everything. Could it be the records of a forgotten civilization? Or maybe the remnants of the true Hall of Records, often linked to Atlantis in fringe theories? We may never know. The labyrinth remains officially unexplored and buried under layers of sand, silt, and secrecy. But it's there, and it might hold more history than all the pyramids combined. Deep in the Egyptian Sahara, in a desolate area near the Gilf Kabir Plateau, explorers found a cave that shouldn't exist. Not in this place, not in this condition. It's called the Cave of the Beasts, and inside are over 8,000 rock paintings, many dating back more than 7,000 years. That's older than the pyramids, older than any known dynasty. And what they show? That's the real mystery. The paintings include people, animals, and what appear to be strange hybrid creatures, beings with long fingers, oversized heads, and bizarre limbs. Some look like they're floating, others seem to interact with objects that resemble orbs or discs. Even more bizarre are the negative handprints scattered around the cave like shadows frozen in time. Researchers agree the cave was a sacred site. But sacred to who? These weren't Egyptian gods. These weren't known animals. The style of the paintings is so different it feels like it came from a completely different culture, one that vanished long before Egypt rose. Some scientists think the figures may represent ancient shamans in altered states. Others suggest early contact with visitors from distant lands or even stars. Whatever the explanation, the cave remains one of the most unsettling prehistoric sites ever found in Africa. At the base of the Giza plateau near the paws of the Sphinx, lies the Valley Temple of Khafra. Unlike the towering pyramids, this structure doesn't get as much attention, but it absolutely should. It's built from gigantic limestone and granite blocks, some weighing up to 200 tons, and they're fitted together with such precision you can't even slip a credit card between them. No one knows exactly how it was done. There are no inscriptions detailing the construction process. No records explaining how these megaliths were cut, transported, and stacked so cleanly. The stone shows signs of advanced shaping, polished surfaces, squared corners, tight seams. Modern engineers have said replicating it today would require cranes and laser-cutting tools. Some believe this temple predates the pyramid it sits next to. The erosion patterns on the limestone suggest it may have endured extreme weather, possibly dating back to a time when the Giza region was more tropical. If that's true, the temple could be thousands of years older than we thought, built by a civilization lost to history. And strangely, it doesn't feel like a tomb or a religious site. It feels like a machine, a functional building with a purpose we haven't figured out. What was it meant to protect or generate? Long before Stonehenge rose in England in the middle of Egypt's western desert, someone built a mysterious stone circle on the edge of an ancient lake. This site is called Nabta Playa, and it might be the oldest astronomical alignment ever discovered, dating back over 7,000 years. That's centuries before the pyramids, even before the wheel was invented. At first glance, it looks like a modest cluster of stones. But when researchers map the layout, they realize the circle aligns precisely with the summer solstice and certain star constellations, including Orion and Sirius, just like the Giza pyramids do later. Was this coincidence or part of a much older tradition? Nearby, archaeologists also uncovered buried megaliths arranged in lines that seem to track the movement of the sun and stars. They found human remains in shallow pits, surrounded by cattle bones and offerings, suggesting this was a spiritual or ritual site. But who built it? And where did they go? The builders of Nabta Playa vanished long before Egypt's first pharaoh. Some believe they were nomads who developed complex sky mapping techniques. Others think they were the ancestors of the pyramid builders, guardians of a lost knowledge passed down in secret. Either way, this desert calendar hints at a civilization that understood the sky better than we ever imagined. Now imagine standing in the middle of the Sahara and spotting massive fossilized vertebrae poking out of the sand. That's Wadi al-Hitan, also called the Valley of the Whales. This isn't just a fossil site, it's an entire seabed frozen in time, filled with the remains of enormous marine creatures that once ruled this land, back when Egypt was underwater. Here lie the bones of Basilosaurus, a 50-foot-long whale with teeth more like a crocodile's. It had tiny back legs, proof that whales once walked before they swam. Nearby are skeletons of Dorudon, sea cows, sharks, and even fish that have long since gone extinct. The bones are so well preserved, some still hold traces of stomach contents. But what makes this site strange isn't just its age or preservation, it's the question of why it's so concentrated here. Dozens of massive creatures, many lying in lifelike positions, all gathered in one place. Was this an ancient feeding ground, a sudden mass death event, or something else? To this day, Wadi al-Hitan offers one of the clearest snapshots of Earth's deep past, yet it sits quietly in the desert, far from the tourist crowds. Here, nature wrote its own version of history, one that predates pyramids, people, and even the land we now call Egypt. Just a stone's throw from the pyramids, tucked behind the Great Sphinx and buried under tons of sand, lies an eerie and forgotten place, the so-called Tomb of the Birds. Officially rediscovered in the early 2000s by explorers like Andrew Collins, this underground passage cuts deep into the bedrock and opens into a series of chambers, completely off-limits to tourists, and mostly absent from guidebooks. What was found inside raised more questions than answers. The tomb is believed to have once housed the mummified remains of strange avian creatures. Not just typical ibis or falcons, which were commonly buried in Egypt, but creatures with oddly shaped skulls and extended bone structures. Some theorists suggest they could be sacred hybrids or mutated animals kept for cultic rituals. Others go even further, proposing the birds weren't native to Egypt, or even Earth. Skeletal fragments were reportedly recovered before the chamber was resealed. Photos exist, but they are almost never released. What is clear is that this tomb was important. The walls were marked with signs of ancient activity, ceremonial burn patterns, and what appears to be deliberate sealing by stone blocks, like someone wanted it hidden permanently. Deep beneath Saqqara's sands, archaeologists opened a shaft that had been sealed for over 2,500 years. At the bottom, they discovered something astonishing: a golden coffin in pristine condition. Belonging to a man named Psamtik, possibly a high priest, the sarcophagus was covered in gold leaf and inscribed with sacred texts meant to guide the soul to the afterlife. But what made the find truly shocking was its isolation. No signs of looting, no collapsed walls, just one flawless burial, as if time itself had skipped over it. Some believe the tomb was hidden on purpose, protected by the sands and forgotten by design. Hundreds of relics surrounded the coffin: miniature statues, protective charms, and mysterious tools. One theory suggests Psamtik's burial was part of a secret priesthood tradition meant to preserve forbidden knowledge. In a land overflowing with legends, the coffin of Psamtik wasn't just a final resting place, it was a message buried in gold, waiting for the right time to be seen. Maybe that time is now. That's about it. Which discovery surprised you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.